All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Hello again, Denny back here at home. Got out of the shower, just got my little house coat thing going on, my birthday suit underneath. Feeling a bit refreshed. It is evening at the time of this recording. Got my ginger tea. Maybe help with the throat. It's springtime now, so there's sometimes you get allergies. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Kind of an odd time of year. It's still in Canada here in between. It was cold, and then it got warm all of a sudden, and then now this coming weekend is going to be cold again and possible wet snow and rain or some bullshit. I don't know. But today I just wanted to talk about a topic that you can kind of connect to some of my other videos, like being in credit card debt, or maybe some of the failures, quote unquote, with dating and relationships, some of the things you wish you could do differently, and if you could turn back time, but we can't. So I'd like to talk a little bit about regrets and living with regrets. And I want to ask you how you deal with it, if it's something you think about or let it weigh you down. How does it affect your life going forward? I guess depending on your age, maybe you've put all the past behind you and you're not worried about it, or you could be a little bit older and still get these negative emotions. Like I was talking to my mother. I see her fairly often. I could actually do a whole video about my mother. We are actually close, and she doesn't live with me, but she lives just down the street, about a 10-minute walk, and I do visit her for dinner on Sundays, and sometimes we go out shopping together. I help her out, and she's 70 years old now. She just turned 70, and she often brings up regrets and mistakes she's made, how she wishes she can change it. And I try to tell her that you can't change the past, and you have to not let it weigh you down so much, and kind of appreciate what you have. And you've made good decisions as well, so maybe focus on those. But anyways, yeah, regrets are interesting. I have a few. So like my credit card video, although I don't regret taking that risk to live a more interesting lifestyle and experience some fun times that I couldn't afford without going into debt. I still could have handled it a little bit differently, could have made some smarter financial decisions and made it not as bad as it is now. But it is what it is, and hindsight's 2020, like they say. And yeah, there's different types of regrets. Like there's the financial stuff, and you beat yourself up over, I could have saved here and shouldn't have bought that thing, and I made this terrible investment that cost me thousands of dollars, and if I can only go back, and yada yada. So those type of regrets. And then there's the more the interpersonal ones. Well, there's the personal stuff too. Like for me, I often think back and regret certain situations where maybe I could have handled things differently, and maybe could have got some better success relationship wise if I had made some better decisions. So there's regret there. And there's also times where I got scared or chickened out of a situation, and kind of wish you can go back and redo it and be a bit more bold and whatnot. But then you think at that time you were a different person and you're still learning, and there's a lot of fear and anxiety and other things going on up here that you don't have now. So you're kind of a different person at the age of 25 than you are at 45. So just take those lessons, take them as lessons and not so much regrets, but there always is that feeling of regret. And then there's so those have been my regrets. It's mostly been just stuff that I've failed at personally. And another one is like when I was pursuing my hockey career, I think, well, shit, I could have worked a little harder, or why did I waste time doing this? And if only I knew back then what I knew now. And you could have been stronger in certain situations, and maybe it would have turned out different, or maybe it wouldn't have made a difference at all. You don't really know. Even if things were a bit different, it could have been farther out of reach than I ever knew. So there's that. And then there's like regrets I've had where I may have offended people, or may have said something insensitive, but it was nothing too heavy or impactful. I've always been more cautious about how I treat people. I've always been on more of the side to not offend and to not hurt people's feelings. And actually it's probably been to my detriment, because I've almost been too careful, and maybe I've held myself back that way because I didn't want to step on anyone's toes or ruffle any feathers. And like I've been maybe too much of a people pleaser, too much of a nice guy to my own detriment. And maybe I could have been more successful at dating and business and had more money if I was a bit more bold and aggressive in the past. So you think about that stuff and you regret it. But I've never really hurt anybody. As you know, if you've watched my other videos, I've never been in a relationship. So I haven't had the opportunity to be the person that dumps somebody or breaks up with them or cheats on somebody, because you have to have a relationship if you're going to cheat on somebody, or else it's not cheating, right? I've never dealt with that. And with me being so sensitive to how other people feel, and this almost too much empathy, even when I've kind of mildly offended people, it bothered me for like a couple of days. Sometimes I'd lose sleep just because somebody took something I said the wrong way. So I couldn't imagine having regrets like some people, where they really hurt a partner or a family member in a relationship. Like, if you are watching this and you've cheated on somebody and you really feel bad and you regret it and you've lost that person because of that, I can't even imagine that type of remorse. If you are, as long as you're not a sociopath, if you have a conscience and you are remorseful, that's got to be really tough. I'd like to actually know, if you've gone through that, or even if you've hurt a family member or a child, if you've abandoned a child and really regret it later, and that is really impacted your life. Let me know what that's like. If you don't mind, I understand if you don't want to talk about that, but it'd be interesting to know exactly how that is and how intense that feeling is, and if it's something you deal with every day, or if it just once in a while it pops into your head and you're like, oh damn, I was a shitty parent or a shitty husband or a terrible wife. Maybe you had a good husband and you threw it away for selfish reasons, and now you live with this really intense regret and shame. I'd like to know, because I honestly haven't had to deal with that. I mean, fortunately for me, my regrets are, I guess, kind of on the tamer side, if you really think about it, like some of the financial decisions were not poor, but they weren't decisions that, had me lose everything, like a house and a car and ended up on the streets or something. I'm sure people have those regrets too. I've heard some horror stories about gambling, where, people have lost everything, including their family. So that's pretty intense. I don't even know how to comprehend that. And maybe you've had the regret of picking a partner or getting involved in a relationship that ended up being super toxic and destroyed your life, or at least, made your life more miserable. I know sometimes that can, the wrong person in your life can also create a financial disaster. If your partner is a heavy gambler or or struggling with addiction of any type, and you're in their life, it's gotta be really rough. And again, I can't relate. I've never been with anybody that's had any of those issues. I haven't been with anybody, period. So I'm not the guy to talk about that. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't comment too much on the big regrets, but I guess the last thing I'll say on this is just living with regret in general. Is it something that you found has held you back? Is it something you can move past quickly? Is it something that you've dealt with before but somehow figured out how to not let it bother you and just move on? With me, it still bugs me sometimes, but it's not like super intense, or it doesn't hold me back all that much. I still know what I need to do, and I'm still out there grinding and hustling and trying to make the right decisions. And I've also learned from the past to not to be a little careful, with friends and stuff, being a little more sensitive to their needs and feelings. I'm sure I've wouldn't say hurt, but I've probably offended like friends, and maybe I've made some poor decisions that I look back and that was a little bit selfish, and but live and learn. And I've lost some friends, but it was never my intent to say or do anything harmful. So just knowing that, like, I know deep within me that the intent was never to harm, and it was honest mistakes that I've made, and I've tried to apologize. And if the people can't look past that, and if they still hold the grudge, then I'm fine, because I know I've done the right thing to try to make amends, and I know I've never intentionally tried to offend anyone or be a bad friend. But yeah, that was maybe just 2-3 examples throughout my whole life, so that's not bad. I know there's probably people out there that have burned bridges like you wouldn't believe. I've never actually believed in burning bridges unless somebody's done something really unforgivable, where you just can't look past that or come back and forgive. But I think that I've done the best I could in that regard, and I know forgiveness is an important value in the Bible, and for you Christians out there, we need to forgive them, for they know not what they do, right? So yeah, regrets, it's a pain. It's a pain to deal with, and I hope that you found some peace and some ways of dealing with it. So I hope that you can get something out of this video and leave a comment with your experience on this topic. And yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. Cheers. Hope you have a good rest of the week and weekend. And as always, God bless you. Rock and roll. Party till you puke. Good night.